Hey, how's it going, everyone? We're going to take a look at the Final Fantasy music box. If you know my channel, you've probably seen some music boxes on here, such as the Nier one or the Kingdom Hearts ones, and of course Final Fantasy VII as well. So I got this one from CD Japan. This actually came out maybe 1 or 2 months ago, around May, maybe June, maybe even July. I can't remember exactly, but basically I had to I forgot they came out and I needed to update my shipping because Japan aren't doing airmail shipping. So I had to get them FedExed over, and then it finally arrived. And I keep saying they because this isn't the only one. Here, let's put this to a side for a second. We've also got Final Fantasy II, the main theme. Oh, but that's not the only one there. Let's see what else we've got. We've got Final Fantasy III, the Crystal Tower, but that's not all. We got Final Fantasy IV, Theme of Love, and we're still not done yet. We got Final Fantasy V, Home, Sweet Home, and then we've also got Final Fantasy VI, something Searching for Friends. And yeah, that's it. That's actually all we've got at the moment. They have done Final Fantasy VII before, but I've covered those in the past. So we're going to take a look at all 6 of these amazing, cool, sweet music boxes here. And we're going to start with Final Fantasy... Well, actually, we're going to start with all of them in kind of one go. You can see this has already got the wrap on there. So what I'm going to do first is get these all unwrapped, and then we'll go through the kind of outer packaging, and then we'll slowly, eventually, get to actually hearing what the tune is like. So tune in for that. So I've unwrapped them, removed the plastic packaging, but I haven't actually had a look inside for the actual music box itself. Jump ahead if you want to see that, or even jump further ahead if you want to hear each tune on its own. As with all my other music box videos, I will have separate videos of just the music theme playing on its own without this whole unboxing thing. So stay tuned for those ones. So starting with Final Fantasy I, we've got the opening theme. Now every single one of these boxes, you can tell straight away, it has got the kind of classic white background look, which I personally love. I love that sort of packaging from classic retro Final Fantasy titles. I guess further back they didn't always used to be like that from the NES era, but most of the times for the European regions of the games they used to have the white background. The white background is what I really like, so I'm glad that they're kind of going with that same theme here. They didn't do that for the Final Fantasy VII music box. They went with the black theme instead. I guess that was because it was remake. I don't know. But here we've got the actual classic logo on there with a font, and then Yoshitaka Amano's artwork there behind as well. So you can see the Warrior of Light. Looks really nice. These are again white, so they all are going to get dirty if you don't clean your fingers. They got this nice matte look to them as well, but again they will get dirty, and potentially, I have a small feeling, potentially some yellowing may be experienced on these packages as well, so keep them out of sunlight. But anyway, you've got a pretty plain box otherwise, but I like it like that. You've got the crystal there, and nice pixelated crystal there. All of them have this crystal, but we'll go through that. USA, UK, EU text over there, so you probably can buy this off the US and UK website from Square Enix directly, but I will also leave links in the description below from where they may also be available. You got the Japanese English text here, same again of what it is. So the opening theme, Final Fantasy opening theme here, or the opening screen with the Warriors of Light down there. You can see that opening pixel classic theme there with the kind of menu box, which is pretty cool. You got the birds even as well. That's pretty cool. On the back you've just got it in Japanese there with the text. And then, yeah, that was the crystal we showed. So I think, yeah, we've covered every single side. So that's Final Fantasy I. We'll then go on to Final Fantasy II, which is very similar, but this time, of course, Final Fantasy II with the artwork there. And then the villain of that one. 2 is the only mainline Final Fantasy I have yet to complete after all these years. I started it, but just never finished it. This one is using the main theme of Final Fantasy II, which I may be thinking is the right one. If it's in my head, then I will recall hearing it and liking it. You've got the crystal here as well. And that's going to be in the kind of color scheme of this, I guess, the front one. And then on the side of this one, we've got one of the maps, I think, from the first town of Final Fantasy II. This is pretty much using the original NES pixel artwork rather than the remake stuff. So you got main theme down below as well. And then, yeah, I showed you the crystal there. Otherwise, the back and the sides are pretty much the same sort of legal jargon you'll see on the others. Move on to Final Fantasy III then, which has, is that the Onion Knight I recall it was? So that's looking really good there. Yoshitaka Amano's artwork stuff is always amazing. I like it. I know some people don't like his stuff, but I personally love it. This is the Crystal Tower theme there, and then on the side you've got the Crystal Tower itself in that pixelated artwork again. This one, okay, so it's not using a green theme, but it's got a grey crystal down below, and then again the legal stuff and text on the other sides. No, we're going to Final Fantasy IV, not 6. Mine 4 came a little bit crushed. A little bit sad about that. What a shame. It is a shame. Really, I'm crying inside. So Final Fantasy IV, we've got the Dragoon Knight on there as well. It was Dragoon, right? I can't remember now. But wasn't that supposed to be Kain? Or was it Cecil's? Cecil was the main character, but then you had Cain. Now I'm confused. Been a long time since I played Final Fantasy IV, a long time. But this one is the theme of love, which that theme I do recall liking. This crushed box is kind of killing me at the moment. We got the scene here of, gosh, who is that? I can't remember. I always confuse her with Celes from 6, but it's not her. But a theme of love, and then the usual text. Then we come on to Final Fantasy V. Final Fantasy V has the dragon on there, and it's in the usual color scheme that you would expect from this logo. And this is Home Sweet Home. On the side is green. Wait, it's green this time? That's just thrown me off. Okay, so it's green, and this time here with something in the woods. I think Bart's is in the woods. I don't remember this scene from the game. Again, been a long time since I played the game. This one's got the green crystal. Personally, I think 3 should have had the green crystal, but that's okay. Then we finally get to Final Fantasy VI, one of my favorite Final Fantasies, period. And this one is searching for friends, and this one has the Magitek armor with Terra, or Tina, on top of it, which is great. And then on the side, we've got the airship flying over some grasslands. I can't remember what that is. But yeah, searching for friends, Final Fantasy VI, and then the usual text. And then that's covering all the outer packaging of this. But now we get to slightly more fun stuff of checking out the actual music boxes themselves. So let's begin by looking at the first Final Fantasy music box, or the first music box for the first Final Fantasy. Now, just like the other music boxes that I've covered from Square Enix, including Final Fantasy VII and Nier, you do get this little leaflet in here that is, I believe, yes, English and Japanese, and it just kind of tells you a little bit about the music box and the care. This is the music box. Here we go. This is the Final Fantasy I opening theme in a nice blue color block here. So all the music boxes are going to come like this with that leaflet, and then in this plastic wrap. So this is pretty familiar, or should be pretty familiar for everyone that has, say, the Nier one or the Final Fantasy VII music boxes. Same material going on here, which is high gloss, which means that your fingerprints are going to show on this like no man's business. So keep that in mind. I always tend to give mine a quick wipe with a kind of a microfiber cloth or something you clean your glasses with, and then I put them back in the wrap. So this is the Final Fantasy opening theme. And yeah, it just looks like a nice blue music box. Now, as I said, if you've seen my other unboxings for the Square Enix music box, that's including Nier, Final Fantasy VII, then this is pretty much the same thing, but now in a unique blue. I don't think this blue has been used for the other music boxes. Shades of blue have been, but not this particular one. This is looking pretty good. You see it's translucent, so you can see the gears and workings inside. You can see the barrel there. If you're familiar with this again, then you should know that they aren't very long in terms of theme tune. They last around 20 seconds, something like that. So it's usually just a small snippet of that. So let's give this a play, and then we'll go through the others one by one as well. So this is Final Fantasy I opening theme. So that was a quick preview of Final Fantasy I, the opening theme. It's still playing a little bit. As I mentioned, they are quite short, and also as I mentioned, I will have a separate video where it's just going to be the theme tune on its own on repeat for about a minute or two, so stay tuned for that one. We'll move on to Final Fantasy II. Same thing here. I'm just going to unbox them all on camera and just kind of talk away. So yeah, we move on to Final Fantasy II, which does indeed use different color scheme as well. I always like to keep my wraps and stuff in the same box, just kind of something I like to do. But yeah, they all kind of use their own different kind of color scheme. So here with Final Fantasy II, we've got a nice ruby red looking scheme. Ruby and like sapphire, right? But yeah, just a Pokemon thing. But yeah, this is really beautiful. I love the way this red has turned out. Really nice. I'm going to put actually this Final Fantasy I one there so we can still see it in the background. So this is the Rubylicious Final Fantasy II main theme. It does have the same map pixel artwork on the front there. Just actually, I didn't call that out for Final Fantasy I, which has the main screen artwork, so that's pretty cool to see there. And then yeah, otherwise shape and all of that form factor stuff is the same, footprint is the same, but this is a nice ruby red. Remember, when you play around with some of these in terms of lighting, the light going through and reflecting and bouncing around the display is definitely going to make this, and of course Final Fantasy I and other music boxes, stand out. But let's give this Final Fantasy II main theme a quick test. That's the test for Final Fantasy II. Now, actually, for me so far, just like Final Fantasy 1, I feel the pace of the theme tune so far is a little bit quick. It's not bad, it's not a deal breaker, just a little bit quick I'm finding. But let's move on to Final Fantasy 3. So Final Fantasy 3, I believe, is going to be a green music box, but let's find out by opening it up. Oh, it's an ice lemon sort of one. So this color looks quite familiar to what I've seen before with, say, Nier, I believe. I'm just going to put that here. So yeah, this is an ice lemon sort of color. It's got more translucency to it than the Nier version, that's for sure. The Nier one's, whoops, mind that. The Nier one was definitely a lot more opaque compared to this one. So yeah, this is still very cool looking. Again, you got Final Fantasy 3 logo up top there, the crystal tower, and then the pixel crystal tower artwork, which is nice. Very plain otherwise. These music boxes don't go for anything special, and they try to keep it nice and clean and simple, which is great. Of course, you do have the Square Enix marking on all of them at the back as well. Let's give the crystal tower a quick twist. So that's Final Fantasy 3, the Crystal Tower. And the amazing thing is, when I was pausing to just kind of organize this stuff, that was the theme I was whistling, and I didn't realize that was the Crystal Tower. Very catchy theme. Of course, these themes as music boxes are going to be very different to the actual real versions of them, the original versions of them from the NES and SNES era, or even the remake versions of them. They are going to be, of course, very, very different. And at this point, people are going to have their favorite versions of said theme. But for these kind of little music boxes that they are, I'm kind of liking what I'm hearing so far, although of course they are quite short. They don't have a big segment of the main theme there. It's quite just a small little bit, which is, I know, something people complain about in terms of value for money. And I would have to agree that if you do have a bit of a budget, then these may not be right for you. But as gifts, you know, that odd gift that you want to give to a friend or a loved one, these I think do definitely go a long way. They cost around, I think, probably around £25 now, depending on where you get it from, really. But here we got Final Fantasy IV, Theme of Love. This is a really nice, to me, I would describe this as a very cola flavored, cola looking music box. That's how I see it, and that's not a bad thing. I really feel like having a Coca-Cola right about now. Yeah, definitely feel like having a Coke right now. Very cool looking box. Again, this is not a color that I've seen before. There may have been, I think the Octopath Traveler one may have something similar to it. I haven't opened my one yet, even though I have it, but maybe that's quite the closest one to this kind of colorway. But let's give Final Fantasy IV, Theme of Love, a twist as well. So that's kind of winding down at that stage. Now, Theme of Love is a theme that I know many people, of course, love. I do love it as well. Something about that one is a little bit off in that I think there's a bit too much downtime in a certain point of that. I'll have to twist it again later on. As I said, I will have all of these music boxes as separate music-only tune videos as well, so you can have a kind of repeated listen to them and leave a comment there instead. So stay tuned for those. But now we're going to move on to Final Fantasy V. So Final Fantasy V, I know a lot of people confuse this as the first game to introduce the whole job system, but that was still Final Fantasy 3. But 5 is still quite popular as a game. I did like it. I enjoyed it back then. I haven't played it for years after they did the PS1 release with Final Fantasy IV, and so it's been a while since I played them. So 5 is actually the one in green, and that's cool. It looks good with the whole forest pixel artwork, pixel map on there as well. So Final Fantasy V, Home Sweet Home. Let's give Final Fantasy V, Home Sweet Home, a test. This one, yeah, I recall hearing this one in the game. This one is pretty nice. I quite like the way this music box has turned out. It's such a shame it's just that tiny little fragment of the main theme, because I know that carries on to something quite good as well. So other people have commented in the past on my videos that these music boxes, you know, are too short. They only take a small segment of them, and I do agree with them. And sometimes it's not always the best part of the song, and that's okay. But I do agree that having a longer version of the theme would be great. But then we'd also end up having a bigger music box overall in terms of size, as well as cost, which would definitely be higher. But I'd be down for that for certain theme songs. I would definitely be down for that. But still, I do like collecting these, which is why I still carry on buying them. I just kind of hear what the music rendition or music box rendition of them will be like. So yeah, I still gonna keep buying them. And now we move on to the final one of the Final Fantasy, I guess, summer collection. So this ends with Final Fantasy VI, and this is Searching for Friends. And as you can see, this one has a very toffee looking or caramel looking cube to it, which looks great. They all kind of look like candy now, right? When you just kind of put them down, they all look a little bit sweet and delicious. So yes, toffee for me, toffee flavored or Werther's Original Final Fantasy VI Searching for Friends. Let's give this a test for you guys. That's going to repeat for a few more seconds. Actually, when I said I was whistling the Crystal Tower, I was actually whistling this one instead. I guess they sound a little bit similar to me, or when it comes to whistling, they end up transitioning into that one instead. So that rounds up the Final Fantasy music boxes of the summer 2022 collection. Let's call it that. And to recap what we had Final Fantasy opening theme, and then we had Final Fantasy II main theme. We had Final Fantasy III, the Crystal Tower, Final Fantasy IV, Theme of Love, Final Fantasy V, Home Sweet Home, and then finally Final Fantasy VI, Searching for Friends. I personally think they all look like beautiful music boxes, just like the other stuff Square Enix has released. They aren't super duper expensive or even premium. I think they're just basic, and that's great. They're basic to the point they're just amazing to me. But I do agree, these are all very, very, very short segments of otherwise very iconic themes for the most part. It's nice to kind of hear them like this, because I haven't heard the soundtracks for a lot of these games in a good while. I mean, the Final Fantasy main theme or opening theme for Final Fantasy I, everyone kind of knows it, so it's hard to forget that one. But the others, I have kind of forgotten. So hearing them as a music box just kind of rings the bell a bit, and I kind of hum the rest in my mind once these finishes. But they're nice. They are nice. So for me, as I said in the beginning, I purchased my set of these from CD Japan. They may still have them. I will leave links down in the description below for places that may still have them in stock. I believe you could potentially get these from the official Square Enix web store as well. Usually that's been the case these days, but they tend to be later releases. So in Japan they come out first, and then you have to wait 1 to 3 months to get them in US or Europe. If you can't find them there, yeah, I'll leave some other links as well. I did end up paying a little bit extra for mine because I had to pay the wretched, cursed customs charge, which I really don't like doing, but I had no choice. So yeah, I'm glad I've covered all of these. I'm glad I finally got them as well. Now, we do have Final Fantasy VII. If you haven't seen my video for the multiple Final Fantasy VII music boxes, they are Final Fantasy VII Remake as well, then definitely do check those out. Now, what I'm definitely looking forward to next is what comes after, right? So if you've got Final Fantasy 1 to 7, basic maths, right? What comes after? 8, 9, 10. And that makes me quite excited to see what theme they'll go with for 8. I think Eyes on Me is probably going to be a given, unless there's a rights issue to even do that as a music box. Maybe, maybe not. And then 9, they could do Melodies of Life with 9, I guess. And then 10 to me, I just feel like they should just do Tuzanakan and call it a day. That's all they need to do for that one. I'd be really happy, more than happy, if we only got Tuzanakan for 10. But let's see what happens on the 7, 8, 9 front. Now, we do have Final Fantasy 11 versions as well. I believe they've done 11 and 14. I just don't have them, and they're kind of expensive to get. I do wish I could get them, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, I could use my money elsewhere, right? But yeah, excited to see what they do with Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. Oh, sorry, 8, 9, and 10. Let me know what you think about these music boxes down below. If you're going to pick any one of them up or a bunch of them up, if you want to get them for your friends or something like that, I think, yeah, definitely try and think about getting them for those special friends of yours or family that you think would like them. I think they make really nice small gifts as well that people can just kind of, little memento, right? They're not too expensive, 20, 25 pounds. It's not too bad, honestly. You can do worse than that. But let me know what you think down below. And as I mentioned, I will have separate videos of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just playing the tune on its own. So if you want to hear those, come back or subscribe to my channel, and I'll have those up in the next few days, I guess. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.